Left Wing Kingz. Listen, think, act, repeat.
Welcome to the Left Wing Kingz podcast. I know we've been going for a minute, but we're back in your face with some more political business.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be discussing the mysterious Black Republican, the Supreme Court's impact on America, and the current state of TikTok. I'm your head moderator in charge of HMIC Malik, and I'm joined today by my beautiful queen, Walanda.
What up?
My main man, Ace.
Hey.
And the esteemed, invaluable,
keep going,
ridiculously handsome.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes.
Undisputed.
Dr. Larry Sizer. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Sizer.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
My name is Larry Sizer. I'm from Rochester, New York.
One of them.
Hey, it's upstate. And let me tell you, if you meet somebody from Rochester, they absolutely gonna tell you that no, it's not the city, but it is a city. And and very proud people. Left Rochester, joined the military, did 20 plus years. Some in there. It was a challenge, and so fortunately, I encountered somebody that encouraged me to pursue my education. With the understanding that it's something that they couldn't take away from me. So I did that. Currently have a position with the federal government, and recently completed my doctorate. So
all right, congratulations on that, man. I mean, that's big up, man. We need more of our brothers and sisters out there looking at their education, because I know a lot of us don't value it. And I think whenever, I don't care how old you are in life, whenever you come to that realization that education is key, grab it by the horns and roll with it. Absolutely. All right, so let's get it cracking on these topics today. So the rise of the Black Republican has been a fascinating trend over the past decade, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. I see a whole lot of Black Republicans out there. I speak to them. They come on our sites and shit and get at us and all type of things.
Those Black people, I know.
Some of them are. Now, there are some complexities behind this trend, like views on discrimination. They feel differently about discrimination. Disillusionment with some of the policies that the Democratic Party has.
Yes.
And we know that we're not a monolith. Like, everybody's not the same. We don't all have to be Democrats because we're Black.
Yeah, agreed.
Your voting reasons could vary widely. But with that being said, Black Republicans are like unicorns, man. It's hard to find them motherfuckers out there. But they there.
They find you.
Us. They sure enough, they can find us, these bastards. So, Dr. Sizer, tell us a little bit about your thoughts on the Black Republican.
I'll be honest, and trust me, I am trying to moderate some of my conversations so I don't come off sounding like the minister Larricon ex Shabbat.
You ain't got to hold back here. You ain't got to hold back here.
But to be frank and forward, I find it difficult to trust. I really just don't trust them, and it took me quite a amount of years to understand that just because we wear the same uniform, we don't have the same beliefs, and so I look at them, and a lot of times nowadays, just as you said, you encounter them, and I'm curious, and I understand that it takes all types of people, for us to, exist as a society and advance different ideas. But most recently, I've simply found people that they parrot hateful speech towards minorities and Black people. A Black Republican is quick to regurgitate something that they've heard that is a white supremacist or a nationalist has said, and that just totally befuddles me. And I do understand that, in the past we had Colin Powell, you had conservatives, and I think conservatives and Republicans are different, because conservatives have principles. A lot of times nowadays you hear Republicans, and they just parrot a lot of hateful speech and hateful ideas, meanwhile trying to champion Christianity.
Yeah. There ain't no Black white nationalist out there. You know what I'm saying?
Like, there's some out there.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, you're in the wrong damn church. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. I'm like, they're out there, and it really you absolutely will get into your thoughts and wonder, like, does this person absolutely believe this, or are they just trying to to push your buttons?
Sometimes I think it's, man, like, I know some black Republicans, and let's be real, I know some blacks for Trump. You know what I'm saying? Who's wearing the T-shirt, standing behind Trump when he's at these rallies. I know a couple of them, and sometimes I think that a lot of them are playing just to be different. They want to be different. They're just going the other way. Like they know most black people are about Obama. Most black people, a lot of majority Democrats, or the whole 9 yards. So they're just going the other way. Even sometimes that other way doesn't even benefit them. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going up against yourself. You're going against policies that don't even work with you. Talking about that you're Republican, and then they will be fighting on something like, for instance, I can't remember her name, the young lady that got shot, Tawana Brawley. I can't remember her name real quick. When she got shot, and they'll be siding with law enforcement. George Floyd, they be siding with law. I hear what you're saying. That's happening to black people. I mean, you see the color of the guy. You know the history.
There's a trend
we're going through. Like the history that black people go through, but just so they can be different, they side with Republicans. You know what I'm saying?
So there's got to be some good reason in their minds that we could be aware of. Like, why are black people starting to turn to the Republican Party? What are some of their reasons that justify?
I wouldn't necessarily say that they're turning to the Republican Party. I think they're more likely turning from the Democratic Party.
Okay.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we live in a binary society in which we have basically a binary choice. Of course, you have independents, but they're collectively don't have enough power to really create or unify enough behind an individual to create a third party that can absolutely inspire or make a change.
Right.
So you have the Republicans and you have the Democrats, and you always hear the quote, two wings of the same bird. And you look at the Republicans nowadays, absolutely
or oversee the Supreme Court, but that's not happening, which is, I find that very intriguing. But again, look at how Congress is made, and they can't agree on anything. You know what I mean?
Maybe
So
when Hakeem
yeah,
becomes
so
speaker,
there
we
it's
can
a
get something done.
constant battle. And then of course precedents.
right.
Precedents mean something. You know, again, I'm not saying just because it's always been, it should always be, but we do have to start looking at precedents and what it means for us in this country.
Yeah.
And of course, number one was term limits, of course, but you know.
Yeah, they can really, Supreme Court can really do some damage, like you said, Doctor. Like their decisions are generational. You know,
it's going to affect our kids.
Yeah, like we just can't go back and reverse Roe versus Wade. That's going to take some.
Well, Congress has to do
Congress
it now.
can.
Like Congress can do that. It's judicial
make
review.
A law. That's all
they can
do.
make a law.
That, but
that's the only way.
But we know how Congress acts.
Yeah.
But you know, another thing that Supreme Court might be acting on if we don't get this finished is the ban on TikTok. Yeah. So there's a potential U.S. ban on TikTok that's going on right now. It's an issue that could have global impacts. You're talking about data privacy, international relationships, freedom of speech is what I'm hearing a lot around that. Some of the concerns and considerations that have led to this moment are outside of those things as well. Now, the debates surrounding TikTok's future in the American digital landscape could lead to a landmark decision for social media and cybersecurity. So, Ace, what are your thoughts on the TikTok conundrum?
Well, I've said it on this show before. I was never with TikTok. I ain't downloaded TikTok. I really believe that it's always been a kind of a China political move to influence our youth. Their TikTok and our TikTok are two different TikToks. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that, I'm with the ban pretty much until the ban, because I do believe in this case, TikTok does need some regulation. And I know people say, well, and Facebook and them are going through their things. We know that. But TikTok is owned by China or a Chinese company. And with that being said, we already know that China has, did all type of cyber attacks against us. They're our enemy. That's what they are. And they shouldn't have that freedom in this country.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just think we're behind the ball because India's banned it, Canada's banned it, New Zealand's banned it. Who else? Finland. Like we have all these countries that already banned TikTok. So something's going on. I think United States, we always just come from behind, like with COVID and everything else. And we just need to look at other countries and see what is happening. Why did you ban it? And these are large. Canada said, no. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to security threats, we have a thing of misinformation. We know that's happening through media, through TikTok, all kind of, we need help. And if TikTok is causing those kind of issues, then, I'm for it. I mean, we need security.
Now you're a TikTok lover.
I am. And that's for me. I love TikTok. I watch cat videos and dance videos and just funny stuff. So I'm like, why is this a bad thing? But misinformation does come up there. Again, I don't, what is it? It follows what you like, right? So
the algorithm is
uses
that
the issue
to push you information.
Right. But when it comes to personal information, if they're selling my stuff, I got an excellent credit score. I'm not trying to lose that. I will get rid of my TikTok. It's okay. If it's a security issue within the country, then I'm for it. I give it up.
So I heard of several things like saying it's a security issue. Can you guys talk about what are the specific U.S. concerns around TikTok?
That's information. Come on, Ace.
I
get that one.
Want to talk.
Yeah.
No, man. I just put it point blank. Period. We're not at war with China, but we definitely know that they're not out for our best interest. And you just don't leave yourself wide open like that. And if we're asking them something to do in the country, like, hey, get with an American company so we can have some regulation on them, and they're saying no, they probably don't need to be here. Mm-hmm. But then let's talk about just youth influence, just for the simple fact that, I know I sound like the old guy, get off my lawn here kind of guy here, but, you got people that are specifically saying, damn, I got to get a job now because I can't be on TikTok. What? You know what I'm saying? That's a side hustle, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That ain't gonna be
your
career.
Kind of money for people anyway.
And the culture that we have now, the kind of the laissez-faire culture we have now, and the fact that social media, we know, is scientifically proven to influence people. I think that's just a lot of power to give up to one of our adversaries in the world on the world stage. I mean, it's just, that's just a no-brainer to me. Like in the day in the story on this show, we may talk about a lot of things that we want the country to get better at, but at the end of the day, we love the country and we want the best for it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it puts the country's best interest at hand.
Yeah. So the information from like specific things that we think China might do using TikTok. So like you said, TikTok's owned by China, right? There's a Chinese company called ByteDance that owns it, and they're based out of China. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Chinese government has the right to ask any company there to give them their data and their information. So what this means is that the Chinese government, if ByteDance has information through TikTok data that they're getting from our users, they can just say, the Chinese government can say, give me all that information. I want it all. And they're supposed to give that information to the government because that's the type of government that exists in China. It's not like here where a company has their own private information and the government can't make them give it to them, right? They can to a certain extent, like for taxes and, creating your corporation and shit like that, but not just getting your data. They can't just like the U.S. government can't come to you and say, give me all your data you got on black people.
I'm actually glad you explained this because I didn't see this come up on my MySpace or Black Voices. I ain't see this on Black Voices.
I didn't
Black
Voices on there. I think it's Black Planet.
That's Black Planet. So ByteDance, is that company. So the Chinese government grab all that shit if they want to. Also, to your point, I think both of you talked about this. And this happened in the previous election, like Russia, like pushing disinformation, propaganda, shit like that out to the users on our end to give them pro-Chinese, negative U.S. information and things like that. So they don't want to use for those things as well. Now, with all of that being said, they're touching on some touchy ground here. Like if you start to ban TikTok, is it possible that the government could be like, well, let's regulate other social media platforms?
They already do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why Facebook is in court. Is it Facebook in court
all
right now?
All of them in court.
They're in court right now.
Ban them.
Yeah.
First Amendment, they're going to fight. It'll be a big, I don't know. You know how we scream First Amendment, First Amendment, First Amendment. So they're really going to have to, I don't know, I don't know how you circumvent the First Amendment. That is the biggest issue.
Well, I'm a big user of social media, but even I think it should be regulated. Hell, a lot of things, transportation is regulated. There's a lot of things that are regulated in this country for the best interest of people. And I mean, if the blowback is, now we got to regulate Facebook and Instagram and blah blah. Okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with that as long as it's in the interest of people's safety and preventing us from being manipulated by governments. Kind of like you said, you didn't say it as much, but how much do we know that the influence of social media got Trump elected and got Hillary not elected? You know what I'm saying? We don't really know how that happened. You know what I'm saying?
We kind of know.
Yeah.
We kind of know.
But that's a powerful
point.
tool to give your enemy if they can start influencing your elections like that, and even causing election mayhem. And distrust in the government, which they're doing a lot of. Hey, you know what? Don't trust those elections. That's straight out the playbook of Russia. You know what I'm saying?
That's what Russia did in 2016.
Exactly.
We have evidence of that.
Now we gotta have the country that don't trust elections, don't think the last election was right. I think the social media may have played a part into that.
They don't trust elections if their candidate does not. Well, now when they win, it's perfect. There was no problem.
Yeah.
But so when you look and it's their person at the top didn't win, but downstream everyone else won. Like, well, all those other people won. You didn't win. How's it? So did they all lose too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't we just, make it that we win every
time? Right.
Every time. If we can control elections.
Yes. And we don't think social media was a vehicle to say, hey, you know what? Some of these elections are rigged, especially when it comes to Donald Trump. We don't think that. And so let's hand that over to
That's
China.
Where people get their news from. Now,
exactly.
Bro. They don't even CNN,
research anything.
Fox, all of that. They get their news from memes.
Hey, I went to sleep.
Memes.
I went to sleep Hillary Clinton was about to be president. When I woke up,
was
Donald Trump was president.
Hey, bro, I was
Okay.
sitting there laughing the whole
Al
night.
Gore.
And I don't know why I found it so funny, but because everybody said like she was going to win, and she just kept losing state after state. And then I came to a realization. I was like, this motherfucker just won, man. How the fuck did this happen? But
you know what I thought? I said, man, somebody at work lied. they was talking all that noise. I know who they went and pulled for. You know what I'm saying?
But how he won by the Electoral College, not because
he didn't win popular vote.
None of the Republicans ever win. Does everybody see
they've
this?
They've won one election in like the past 30 years where they have actually won the popular vote, and that was George Bush's second one.
That is
after 9/11.
Right.
Yeah.
Up into the back to the 80s.
Yeah. Never.
Or when Daddy Bush. They've lost them all. Electoral college.
The Electoral College is getting them on. So popular votes say,
which is more people,
right?
Like you said,
they're not in agreement with.
You made. Like, is it really a democracy when
it's
the majority is not getting what they want?
I've been saying this. No one listens to me.
Yeah. Yep. So I think TikTok is dangerous. You know, especially if the government don't step in. This is the time they need to. And I'm sorry for a lot of these people that got to go get a job now.
So let me ask you this, man. I mean, the people like you talk about influencers because you an influencer. You on this show, nigga. So, one day, you got a job too. That's a great point. But one day we want to have income coming from this show too. I mean, at the end of the day. But you know, we talk about the government needs to step in. The government already stepped in. And you know, there's a ban on TikTok for government devices right now.
Yeah.
Already.
Right. So the government devices are safe from this data mining. The people in the government, I guess they can't see the videos that they showing. Is the government going too far from getting into the civilian sector and saying, hey, you have TikTok to our citizens? Like, are they trying to what?
Well, I'm
curious.
I'm curious if the government is like, hey, we can't have that on ours. Why would you want it on everybody else's? There's got to be a reason behind that.
I think they're afraid of having, Chinese having a back door on there and be able to get in. And a few weeks ago, something shut down. Facebook went down and people went nuts.
They went crazy.
And then something else shut down too, like
your phone. There's stuff on the AT&T. People
AT&T. So I'm like, those are probing attacks.
Yeah.
They're seeing how, okay, let's hit this button and see what happens.
And they try to say it wasn't.
And it's a social,
it was.
It's a social experiment. How do people apparently people lost their mind because they, the phone wasn't working or the whatever else wasn't working.
Netflix movie that just came out with the black guy. They lend their house as a vacation house and the people move in.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It reminds me of that shit. Like they just fucked social media and everything was fucked up and the whole country went crazy.
They're trying to see what would happen, how would people react, and if we did this, because now I know I can set it up for a wider scale and hit more people. So they have the electronics.
We call them test and learns.
You could put back doors and stuff and say, let me see what this back door, this trap door works. How's this gonna work?
Exactly.
And I still don't trust them damn balloons that was flying over.
Weather balloon.
No. Like seriously, like that just went away. They just had whole balloons flying over
the whole country, nigga.
Surveying.
But this is the point that I made to her, like. Exactly. You think we ain't doing the same shit?
Oh yeah, no, I think we doing.
You think we ain't doing test and learns, probing and they shit and
yeah,
fucking
no,
up
I think
we doing the same shit.
Nah, no, we wouldn't do that.
Man, get the fuck out.
I think we're doing it too. But I think China got things set up to the point where, hey, and even if they don't have set up, if you a citizen in China, you ain't got no say anyway. You ain't got to say set up.
But here's my
thing.
bitching
and complaining, and I'm saying that we probably do need some regulation. That's all different.
But here's my thing too. I'm like, man, if we think that the U.S. government is treating us fucked up and we need reparations and all that, they doing much more than what the fuck they doing to us. They doing all kind of shit all over this world.
Yeah,
and they fucking with all kind of different people. And the reason why they want the regulation to me is because they know what the fuck they do.
Yeah,
and they don't want it done to them. It's kind of like the same thing I say about Republican parties. Same shit.
Yeah, they're not going to enforce a ban because they couldn't get people to help people live. We think about COVID. We asked people to wear a mask. Look how people went crazy. You think
Mhm.
they're gonna lose their mind? You take away their TikTok and their First Amendment. People like choices. They like options. They want to do what they want to do.
They all
Donald Trump, what? Before he was against TikTok. Then he met with somebody, and then he was for TikTok, and he said it was under the guise of, well, I just don't want to give too much power to the Instagram, Facebook folks. I don't want them to have. I don't want Zuckerberg to have that much power. But no, he met with somebody probably some under trying to get that money. He got bills to pay. So he done came out and said, "Nah, don't vote against that." So now they trying to back up and chill. Like, oh no, we're not for that. Like, yo, this dude is not. He is not a political. He's not in office. No one has elected him. Can y'all please stop listening to this man?
Money.
Hey, is there a way that we can kind of, mitigate the issues with TikTok without putting a ban on the company?
I said like a data privacy law reform, like put in a law, like reform the data privacy thing. It's really the access to the data is what is the concern. And I don't work in tech, so I don't know how that works.
Right.
But if they figure something out with that, where they have, they can protect people's data, I don't think this would be an issue. Because they're going to be selling information, right? And the point of the information. The misinformation is the only problem I do have. People just on there just saying things that are just not truthful, and people are so easily influenced on that, obviously. Hence why we're in the situations that we're in. I don't know how you control that.
Yeah, so to your point, TikTok has and I found this online somewhere. I can't remember the source, so I apologize. TikTok has a $1.5 billion project to ensure sensitive user data is kept on U.S. soil. It can't be accessed from China.
Right.
So that goes back to your point.
Right.
But who's going to manage that?
Yeah, I don't know.
The Chinese?
No, the United States. It'd be U.S.
Yeah. The ones that can ask for all the data. Soil. So I hope.
That's just.
I'm pretty certain.
I know the answer to that.
That's smoke and mirrors, right?
If you download the program, it probably has access to everything in your whatever electronics you have.
Right.
And it's a matter of them going in there, hitting a button, and snatching your data.
Yeah. But there would have to be some type of, like you said, controls in place. That shit can't happen. They have to use technology to try to stop it. But to your point, there's a way around it. Hackers exist, man.
Yeah.
And they make a lot of money.
Here's my solve to that is the only way I see out with TikTok, they got to become a subsidiary to a large U.S. company that everybody trusts, like a Disney or an Apple.
Truth Social.
Oh, hell no.
He want that. Boy, he would try to go for that shit.
A Disney or an Apple to the point that was not going to be afraid of some heavy government regulation. But they'll have to get with somebody strong enough to where we feel that they're trustworthy enough to they're part of Disney now. Okay. And then now Disney's letting FBI and everybody just crawl in there and make sure everything's good and making us feel safe at home. That's the only solve I see with it. And I don't think TikTok's going to do that. So I think they're going to eventually get banned. Because I honestly think part of what they're doing, I think just part of it is just that they're China and they don't want to be told what to do by America.
If they could ban Pornhub in Texas, anything can get it.
Anything can happen.
Anything can get banned. So what do you think is going to get banned?
Do I?
Yeah.
No, I think they'll find a way to get around it.
You already said you don't think it's going to get banned.
I think if it's about money, sell the company to United States. But they don't want to do that. So then I do feel like there's some type of hidden agenda. Because if it's about money, just go on and sell it, make your profit, and move on.
If they get banned, they get
zero
money from the United States.
So that's how you
sell it to a U.S. subsidiary like Disney or somebody.
You got your money.
At least they get some money. I mean,
that's how they do business over there, though. Right. I mean, we have to. Our corporations have to give them, access to their patents and information.
We so much nicer to
and then they exploit it. That's why when they come out with stuff, it always looks like our stuff. It's like that. It looks just like this.
It look like Jordan
function like it.
But Jordan's dunking backwards. He's doing a 360.
Like, yo, these Yao Mings look just like Jordan.
This nigga doing a sky hook.
Hey man, so before we cut out of here, man, it's been a great conversation today. I want to thank Dr. Sizer for hanging out with us. Do you have anything you want to promote? Any your wife's services? Anything? I mean, I know she got a website. I'm wondering where
he just put you on blast. Like, you gotta say something. Now you gotta say something.
I'm still working on what my path forward is going to be.
Okay.
But Dr. Carla Sizer is
there you go.
She has a nice social media footprint out there and has some services and great speaker. She's actually the Speaker of the House. That's what I call her. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker. So I'll gladly join you and let you know what I have going on in the future as soon as I establish what that is. But I appreciate you having me here. I think you have a fantastic forum and always engaging conversation. And awesome. Absolutely, again, appreciative for you having me.
Hey, thank you for coming out, man. Yolanda.
Oh, just go out there and vote. And thank you, Dr. Sizer. Thank you both, Dr. Sizers. Actually,
yeah. Hey, I'm just for the record. Yes. I'm Dr. Sizer too.
Yes,
that's
squared.
TOO. No, I'm
TOO. Like me too.
Yeah, me too. Hey, that's what you got to say. Close out, man.
No, awesome show, man. It's always good to have the Sizers in the house, and I was really looking forward to having Dr. Larry Sizer here, man. Just even off the record, man, we're outside this thing. This guy's entertaining, man. Every time I've heard him talk, just a general conversation, party talk, he's always captivating, man. So it's great to have him here, man. Have him be part of the Left Wing Kingz.
You got to see the behind the scenes footage.
Right, that's right. Hey, I want to thank everybody for coming, hanging out with us this week. Live stream on all the social media platforms, and keep your eye on us. Subscribe so you don't miss any more of our content. And we'll see you again next week.